Bad Dog by Crispy55. Chapter 1. "Bad dog!" John yelled, drunk as a skunk, stumbling as he clumsily kicked Trigger. Trigger wasn't a bad dog. At least he didn't think he was. Yes, when he was a pup, he had chewed on some couch cushions and other household items. He had learned then what bad dog meant. Now he had seen many suns and moons, and at least 2 cold times. Winter, Trigger thinks the 2 legs called it. He hadn't done bad dog things in a long time. John lunged at Trigger again, his steel-toe boot hitting the poor canine's head. Trigger attempted to run and hide, but a wave of dizziness caused him to stumble, tripping over his own 4 legs. Why Master was punishing Trigger was beyond him. It seemed to happen a lot. Master would drink his smelly water, or Bud Light, he heard him call it, or some other booze, then commence to beating him, sometimes with objects, other times he would choke him. God, how Trigger hated those hands. "Yep, it's a whiskey night," John Sayer thought as he took another swallow. John was 35, one of those classes of men who would never get above the poverty line, bouncing from job to job, never really finding his place in the world. Most of the jobs in his area were the kind that expect you to give a chunk of your life to the business, working there 15 years before you start making decent money. John Sayer was not the do the same thing for 20 years kind of guy. Yet, here he was, at 35, in the same town he was born in, the same naggy wife from high school, same old truck, same bad luck. His boss had been more of an asshole today than normal. Old man was always condescending to John, belittling him every chance he got. The old man was probably just as pissed off at the world as John was, if not more. Who knows how many years of his life he'd given to the company? Oh yeah, John Sayer knew just how many years old Tim Johnson had given to Saxon Metal Incorporated. Tim was going on his 25th year and had started when he was 25 and was now just making 50 grand a year. Plant manager my ass. Ha! John thought as he took another drink from the bottle of Devil's Cut. Trigger, who was now struggling to find a place to hide, was a gift Angela, his wife, had picked up for Rachel, their 15-year-old daughter. At first, the girls were enamored by the puppy. After the newness wore off, the girls soon forgot about Trigger. Shortly after, Trigger, for whatever reason, had taken to John, following him around wherever he went. Anytime he was working around home or the yard, Trigger was on his heels. John had immediately been annoyed. At first, he would attempt to shoo the pup away, then progressively more aggressive tactics. Once, he'd even kicked Trigger so hard he looked like a football soaring across the air for a field goal. Over time, though, John began to enjoy inflicting pain on the little mutt. John Sayer hated everyone and everything. Most of all, he hated Trigger. Trigger was currently hiding under a pile of tools and junk accumulated over the years. He could hear his master call for him. Every fiber in his body wanted to go. Fear held him in place, frozen like a scared cat. Right now, he wished he was a mouse, so he could hide in the walls or somewhere Master couldn't get to him. He inwardly whimpered as John got closer to him. "Trigger," Master called, also making kissy noises. "Come here, you stupid dog," he said in a friendly tone. Trigger could smell Master's anger, though. He began to shake uncontrollably, closer and closer, until Master found him, yanking him out of his hiding spot. "Gotcha!" His master laughed, now holding Trigger upside down by his tail. Master made his way to the workbench where his bitter water was, swinging him haphazardly as he walked, Trigger's head and body hitting random objects along the way. John sat down on an old bar stool in front of his workbench. He set Trigger on his lap, momentarily petting him roughly, absent-mindedly, as if the animal wasn't even real. He proceeded to take another swig from the bottle, then picked up his phone, connecting it to his Bluetooth system. He could hear Angela and Rachel arguing loudly, something his wife and daughter did often. Sometimes their screaming matches would last hours. John hated listening to them bicker. In the distance, he could hear thunder rolling. Maybe between the storm and the music, I can drown them out, John thought to himself as he scrolled through his playlist looking for a good song. Finally, settling on Lil Scrappy, No Problem. He then proceeded to take a sloppy drink of Devil's Cut as he stood up, pulling Trigger up by his ears, causing the dog to yelp loudly. "Shut up," he hissed. "Shut the fuck up, stupid mutt." He then began punching the dog with one hand, holding him up by the scruff of the neck with the other. Trigger's breath left his body after his master's third punch to the ribs. Everything went dark for a minute. Then, instinctively, Trigger did something he had never done. As John went to wallop Trigger again, Trigger's sharp teeth sank into the man's forearm. "Son of a bitch!" he snarled gutturally as he threw Trigger across the shop. The canine quickly ran and hid. His nails scratched the concrete floor as he tried to get traction. Deep within the piles of junk and tools, Trigger hid, shivering and holding back whimpers. Master was furious now, throwing objects at the wall as he dug for him. "You dumb dog. When I find you, I'ma kill you." Master's voice was cold and full of hate. "You're a dead dog. Just wait till I find you." Trigger knew what dead dog was. Many times he had seen the bodies of dogs who had been hit by vehicles on the road, where the turtles with wheels travel. Cars, Trigger heard the humans call them. He didn't want to be a dead dog. Why, oh why did Trigger bite his master? "Stupid, dumb dog," Trigger thought to himself as he continued to shake uncontrollably. John was so angry, all he could see was red, plowing a path as he looked for Trigger, moving like a drunken tornado as he threw tools, trash, and some old toys. After several minutes of rage, John, out of breath, went back to the workbench, sitting heavily on the bar stool. Blood dripped from his arm as he reached for another drink of Devil's Cut. The storm was overhead by now. The sound of rain hitting the tin roof was almost deafening. Taking a big gulp of liquor, he slammed the bottle down and picked up his phone, turning the volume all the way up. The sound of the game, One Blood, blasting through the speakers. He then began to scroll social media to pass time. "Dumb dog's gotta get 'em out sometime," he thought to himself as he liked some model's Instagram photo. Between songs, he could hear Angela and Rachel yelling. He smiled inwardly. Dumb bitches. He grabbed his bottle, taking a long pull, which was a little over half full by now. Then using it as a microphone, rapping and singing like karaoke night at the bar, slurring and stumbling over the words. Song after song, John Sayer put on his own private concert, sometimes doing surprisingly well for one so inebriated, though growing worse and worse as the contents of the bottle slowly disappeared. DMX, Where the Hood At, was blaring through the speakers. Lightning flashed, and thunder rolled in the distance now, as most of the storm had moved on. About midway through performance, John slowly stopped. "What the?" he said in disbelief. "There you are." Under an old cardboard box, John could see Trigger's tail, partially uncovered. "Gotcha," he snarled, lunging for the mud. Trigger, who had since calmed down, heard the drunken master and quickly evaded capture. Darting towards the door. "Ha! Where do you think you're going?" Cornering the dog. "Oh, you're dead." John locked eyes with the shivering dog, arms spread as if to imply there was no way out. Right hand still holding the bottle of Devil's Cut. He smiled cruelly while taking another long drink. The man then ran at Trigger like a madman, barreling in, surprising with his balance and speed. "Ha, you little motherfucker!" Roughly snatching Trigger's scruff. "Oh, I got..." Crash! With a thud and the sound of breaking glass, John's body hit the ground, and everything went black.